Jaylen Brown speaks out about adding pace to the Boston Celtics lineup after a recent loss to the Indiana Pacers in the in-season tournament. Jaylen Brown wants to add that style to the Boston Celtics offense, and we'll explore how impactful it could be to help out with the Boston Celtics team this season. We'll also be looking at the recent road trip that the Celtics will be taking starting off tonight, playing in Golden State, and we'll be looking at the injury report for that game as we have a little bit of a weakened front court going into this back-to-back with the Warriors and the Kings. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, but before we get into any Boston Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly around 79% of our viewers are not subscribed, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We recently are going to get to close to our goal of 3,000 subscribers. We're rapidly growing every single day, and we appreciate you guys so much for hitting that subscribe button. So if you guys want to make sure you stay up to date on everything Boston Celtics news, trades, rumors, live streams, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the family. We got daily Boston Celtics content, and we know you guys will love that. But let's dive into the news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack, as this is going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in. And first, we'll be talking about a Kristaps Porzingis injury update as we get focused on tonight's game versus the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Celtics will be taking on this nice road trip going to California, taking on all four of the California teams. And first off, they play Golden State tonight, and then they take on the Sacramento Kings tomorrow. And we have a little bit of an injury update for you guys. From Bobby Manning, it looks like the Celtics could rest Kristaps Porzingis on the front end and Al Horford on the second end of the back-to-back between Tuesday and Wednesday. It makes sense given Looney and Sabonis' skill sets, and honestly, I do agree. Obviously, Al Horford getting a little bit up in age, he's definitely not the guy that can play on back-to-backs and hasn't this whole season. Playing him against a guy like Looney will be a little bit helpful for him. And having Kristaps Porzingis playing on the second end of the back-to-back against Sabonis, a little bit more of a skilled offensive big, will help out for the Boston Celtics as Porzingis can draw him out to the three-point line a little bit more on offense and play around with him a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball, as they're both very physically and great offensive centers. Now, the Boston Celtics want to look at another thing. Jay King says that Kristaps Porzingis has obviously had this left calf strain management. The Celtics want to make sure he doesn't re-injure himself like he did in recent years, and he's been obviously taking his precautions by sitting out of the World Cup and by being prolonged on this calf strain injury. But he's listed as questionable for the game tonight. And yesterday, Porzingis said he and the staff just started talking about whether he would be able to play on both legs. He said that they didn't know the answer yet, but they know my stance. Kristaps wants to be able to play in every game they allow him, but of course, they want him to be smart with him and his health, and they make sure that he is in there for the long picture. I totally agree on that. I'm very helpful and happy that the Boston Celtics are being precautious with Kristaps Porzingis. I don't want to see him get hurt, as the Celtics front court is already pretty weakened. We have a older Al Horford, and as we've seen when there was no Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis in that shorthanded game versus the Orlando Magic, we had guys like Lamar Stevens, Oshae Brissett, neemias come up, and those guys are solid in their role and have valuable pieces to us, but they're not those main ticket big guys like Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. And if one of those guys were to go down, it'd be tough for the Boston Celtics to replace them in the playoffs. So they definitely need them at full strength to be healthy the whole season. So it is the smart decision by the Celtics to be resting Kristaps if they do rest him tonight. But let's get into the main news at hand, which is talking about how Jaylen Brown wants to add some pace to this Celtics offense. And like I mentioned, the team that he sees that has a lot of pace that he wants to resemble is the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers in their first matchup. They took them on and blew them out, but there was no Tyrese Haliburton for the Indiana Pacers with a injury lineup that time, and they got their rematch back when they beat the Boston Celtics in the in-season tournament. And Jaylen Brown had to say after that they play fast, and he's a fan of how the Indiana Pacers play. Personally, I am too. I really like what this Indiana Pacers team is doing. They added nice pieces, and obviously Tyrese Haliburton, their future star. They drafted Benedict Mathurin, who looks like a good piece. This offseason, they went out and got guys that could help out with their team, bringing in Bruce Brown, a great defender, a guy in Obi Toppin, a high-flying wing to do nice lobs from Tyrese Haliburton, and obviously having Miles Turner being their nice center that they've had for the last couple years. This team is looking like a nice playoff competent team, and Jaylen Brown thinks so too. He wants to buy things from their offense. We want to look at this article from Jay King in The Athletic. He says, by calling himself a fan of that brand of basketball, Brown might have dropped the first hint of his desire for the Boston Celtics to ratchet up their own pace. Since then, he has revealed that he has urged his team to lean into faster play, and that's what I've been trying to emphasize for our coaching staff and everybody all year, Brown said. It seems Brown is not just a fan of the Pacers' style, he wants to adopt shades of it into Boston's offense. The Celtics, who entered Monday night ranked 23rd in pace, aren't likely to become one of the league's fastest teams overnight, but Brown wants them to look more for transitional opportunities. He stressed that the goal after a recent shorthanded win against Orlando, during which the Celtics were missing all of their usual centers, started Lamar Stevens at that position. And I agree with Jaylen Brown here. The Boston Celtics, when they went up against that game against Orlando Magic, did play shorthanded and had a lot of smaller lineups, using a lot of guards, and it actually helped them out. They were able to beat a very physical team in the Orlando Magic by using that pace to get by them and help them out late in the fourth quarter and stuff like that. And that's impactful to see from this Celtics team. You want to see them bring up their pace. And even though, like the article said, they won't be a top 5 or a top 10 team in pace overnight, they were to implement this and bring a little bit of it more to their offense. I think it would help out Jaylen Brown's game, but also help out the versatility of this offense. Having Jaylen Brown, when he is that main scorer, pick up the pace and being that attacker at the rim, I think is perfect for this Celtics team. I want to keep looking at this article. Brown says, I think we were just playing faster. We had all guards, all smalls out there, so our advantage was speed, and that's how I wanted to play all the time. Like, let's run on a made basket and on a missed basket. That was referring to the Orlando Magic game. The Celtics haven't committed fully to running so far this season. They rank 15th in average to time to shot at 11.7 seconds. The website tracks time to shot after baskets, defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, and turnovers, and the Celtics don't rank higher than 15th in any of those categories. They're also 23rd in the percentage of possessions that begin with a transition play, which isn't the greatest. The Celtics need to pick up that transition play. They need to pick up their offense and make it a little bit faster so that they can actually control and put teams off pace a little bit. I know that the Celtics usually like to set up nice plays, run some threes, but on these transitional stops, when we get a lot of turnovers and steals from guys like Derrick White and Jrue Holiday, the Celtics need to be bringing that intensity and bring that offense and pushing that ball down the court and not settling for pull-up threes or for set plays, because that's what gets a team back into their flow and gets them into their defensive sets. And the Celtics need to capitalize on attacking the rim in those transitional sets like Jaylen Brown has done in the most recent games, but he needs to keep that intensity up. We want to keep looking, and I think playing with a pace, Brown said, I think a lot of times we get in trouble when we walk the ball up. We play slow, allow teams to load up. I like the version of us when we're getting up and down, making the right reads, and playing with a little pace. I think those two are going to lead us in the right direction. Also, taking care of the basketball is important, keeping turnovers down and not fouling, and I think that contributes to Celtics basketball. I would totally agree with Jaylen Brown on that one. The Celtics have had a tendency to have a little bit more turnover ratio this season and in recent games as well. They need to slow and try to control the ball, and by being slower, it might help out, but by being a little bit fast-paced, you might be able to pull a team off rhythm and be able to drive by them a little bit quickly. And Joe Mazzulla has even said in this here part right here, that they're all got ways on their own that they're able to do it, and kind of each guys learn their role when they're in transition. So Jrue does a good job of finding the guys, whether it's flips or getting to his post-ups. Jaylen does a good job of attacking the rim, like I mentioned. Derrick White does a good job on either his pull-up three or his nice paint attacks with his nice floaters. Horford and Sam Hauser respace the floor, while Payton Pritchard's pace has gotten really good, and the fives do a really good job of getting Jayson, Tatum, hook screens, and transition. So they've all kind of gotten into what their role is and figuring it out on their own, and that is something that I love to hear from this Boston Celtics team. We want a team that can buy into their role to win the championship, and I've been preaching this since the start of the season, that the Celtics have had their guys that know their role. Kristaps Porzingis has bought into that role of not being a top 2-3 guy. He just wants to help win. Same thing with Jrue Holiday, Derrick White, Al Horford, Sam Hauser. Guys like JT and JB know they're the number 1-2 guys, so they know that they're going to have to be in control. But if the other guys know that they're not playing for ISO ball or they're playing to get their 20 or 25 points, that's what we want to see from this Celtics championship team. In the past, we've seen that with some guys and with some isolation plays, and it has pained me to see, but I like that the Celtics are doing this now. We want to look back at this quote. We can see obviously Jrue's been doing a good job playmaking and getting to where he needs to go, but if he's not doing that, he's in that post on that big man with that nice mismatch on that transition. Jaylen, of course, does a great job attacking the rim, going for his high-flying dunks that we've seen all throughout the season, but just being a great pace guy on both sides of the ball is great. Derrick White, always open in that corner for his three-point shot, or even with a nice little floater. Derrick White is always cash from that. And like you mentioned, Horford and Sam Hauser spacing that floor, with Payton Pritchard being able to pace and play through that offense, finding those guys open on the three-point line has helped out the Celtics tremendously so far this season. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that the Celtics need to add this type of pace to their offense to make them a little bit better? I certainly think that it would make the Celtics team a little bit more interesting and bring some versatility to this team. If you guys are at this point in the video and you guys are still not subscribed, What are you guys doing? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We know you enjoy the Celtics content. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. I'm Bruce Velez, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.